Does it make you upset when you see other software professionals get rewards, recognition, or opportunities that you wish you would have gotten? Are you maybe stuck in a software project situation where you feel unable to grow? Well, stay tuned because today we're going to answer this question. Is wanting to feel important hurting your software career? Hi, I'm Jamie Edwards, and I help software professionals and software companies to do a better job releasing their software, understanding what it is that their customers really want, and having an environment where people can be as creative and innovative as possible. Today we're going to talk about how your desire for significance might be preventing you from growing in your software development career. When most of us start out developing software, we're really excited because there's a lot of room to grow for the first 2 to 5 years. We get a lot of really great benefits, things like good pay and flexible work hours. We also have an environment where, at least at first, it seems like our opinions are really valued and there's a lot of room to grow. And of course, being new to software development, everything technology-wise is new, so there's plenty of room to grow to learn new technologies. After we spend some time developing software for a company or in our career, however, we often hit some roadblocks that prevent us from growing. The company may not need you to grow. They may have you in a position where you've built a product or put a project together and it's making the company revenue, and they don't really need you or want you to grow to help them achieve their business goals. Another thing that might be preventing you from growing once you've been developing software for a few years is other people seeming to stand in your way. You'll notice all the other professionals you encounter are also trying to grow in their career. Often they're playing politics to try to move up the company ladder, and so it can feel like for you to grow, you need to somehow beat or overcome those people. When we look around at the industry and people that appear to have been successful as software developers, we look at many things that indicate success, at least from the way society looks at it. They speak at big conferences. They may have a big name and lots of prestige associated with them. They may post things on social media and get a lot of attention from other people. And they may actually get opportunities to work with influencers in the industry. Now, these might be things that you look at other people who are professionals in software and you think, I'd really like to do these things. And so the conclusion many of us come to is to be able to do those things, we need to be the best software developer or the best product manager or come up with the best ideas or be the hardest worker on the team or be in the right place at the right time. Now, certainly those are all things that have an impact on your career and whether you're able to actually become influential and reach the goals you want. But there's really one thing that most people did to get recognized in their career and really grow. And that's to contribute to other people's success into the software development and software engineering and technology industry as a whole. Usually this requires contributing things at your expense. An example might be on your project, spending time helping other people instead of just working on your own tasks. Maybe writing a book and sharing your knowledge with the community, or starting an open source project where you contribute some of the technology and code that you've come up with in your career and share that and help other people. If you're familiar with Tony Robbins, who most people are these days, he's somewhat of an expert in personal development and psychology, business advice, a variety of different things. But there's one concept he talks about that I really like that I think is important for you to understand when it comes to seeking out significance and importance in your career and how it's going to affect you. This is the 6 human needs that Tony often talks about. What he attempts to do is boil down human behavior into these 6 common things that sort of push and pull against us to help us understand a little bit more about what drives us as people. And what I think you'll find is that with this explanation from me, you might see how meeting those 6 human needs for a software developer is actually difficult without explicit planning and intent. So just going really quickly through the 6 human needs, the first of these is certainty. The desire for us to feel that we're in control and we can be certain of something. The second human need is uncertainty or variety, the desire to see change and have things be different and unpredictable. The third of these is significance. And it's where we draw our value from our ability to be recognized by other people for our contributions. And this is in direct conflict with another need, which is the need for connection. We have a desire as people not to be isolated, but to have other people that we interact with that think and act at least a little bit like us, so we feel like we're part of a group. Finally, the two human needs Tony talks about that I think are really important to your software development career are growth, or the ability for you to actually grow your skills, and contribution, which is really you contributing your value and the things that you've learned and maybe the technologies you've learned to master to other people and the rest of the software industry, or at least the team or company that you work at. So the irony is, if we seek out certainty, the ability to feel like in our software development or software professional career, we can control things, we try to limit variables and we try to limit our dependence on other people because we feel if I can control what I'm working on and nobody else can affect me, then I'll have certainty. The unfortunate thing about this, though, is we get bored. We get tired of the certainty. This is just a human need, and so we want variety. Similar to this, we often desire significance after a few years of developing software. Whether we're a product manager, CTO, tester, an ops person, whatever your role is, once you've been doing your job for a while, you want recognition and you want to feel significant in your career. This is just a basic human need. The unfortunate thing, though, is as we step back and try to show everybody how many ideas we have that might be new or our ideas, we actually can cause ourselves to distance ourselves from other people. And this actually breaks connection and we lose community with other people. So those two human needs, significance and love or connection or community, we can't have them both unless we balance those two. And I think many software professionals, myself included, as we move forward in our career, it's really easy for us to get attached to and tied up in getting rewarded or recognized or seen by other people as how either smart we are or influential or how much we can do or change at the company. And lastly, we often want growth in our skills as software professionals. It's very common that if I'm on a project or another software professional is on a project for a year or 2 years, if they're still working on that technology, they're going to get bored of it. I get bored of it. And you want change. You actually want to work on new technologies and you want to grow. However, to grow, one of the things you'll run into, at least I believe you will, I have many times in my career, is it's easy to hit the limitation where you yourself growing isn't enough. You realize your own limitations. There's only so much I can learn. There's only so many new technologies I can absorb, and I actually need other people to accomplish the goals in my career, or maybe the product goals for the business at the company. And at that point, you realize I can't just grow my own skills. I actually have to contribute to other people in the rest of the business if I'm going to grow my career. So now that we know that these 6 human needs can kind of push and pull against each other and make it difficult as a software professional to grow, what are some of the things that we could do to grow in a more healthy way that has a more long-term outlook and is going to really keep us fulfilled and satisfied in our career? Well, the first of these is if you're in a situation that you don't like, accepting that situation for what it is, trying not to beat yourself or the company up because the situation isn't what you want, but then setting a boundary for when you're going to make an action or a decision or a change if things don't get better. Often when we're on a project as a software professional, the work's difficult, we try to hit deadlines, conflicting requirements get thrown at us all the time, the business wants new things, the customer gives us new feedback, and this can feel like something that we have no power to change. However, if we're frustrated enough on a project and we've maybe tried to influence other people using some of the strategies I've talked about in my other videos, and we're really just not getting the growth in our career and the support from other people, and we've really tried to influence everyone and make the situation better, at some point we need to move on. And I personally find if I just try to go off gut feel for that, saying, well, I'll just keep doing this until it gets bad enough I decide to leave, I tend to, and this is just me, stay longer probably than I should have. And then when I get to the point where I realize that I want to leave, I start to feel resentful because really I didn't make the decision earlier or set a boundary for myself, and I start to take it out on other people for the situation not being better. Now, obviously, other people at the company have an impact on our happiness and our growth, but ultimately, it's up to us. So I would just make sure if you want to grow and not get stuck, accept times of stagnation. They are what they are, but set yourself a boundary. You know, if things don't get better in 6 months, I'm going to do this. If my boss does this to me again, I'm going to do this. Whatever that is for you, setting yourself some sort of boundary so you know, if this happens, I'm making a change. That's really going to prevent you from staying frustrated and not being able to grow. The second thing that will really help you grow in your career is actually to be mindful of other people who don't want to change when you do. Remember how I talked before about how Tony Robbins' 6 human needs, there's 2 of them, certainty and uncertainty or variety, that are sort of in conflict with each other? There's times in our lives we want certainty, and other times we want to change, we want variety. Well, if you're at a point in your career or on your software project and you feel like you want to make a change, you're introducing uncertainty or variety to other people's work. And if they're not as enthusiastic about it as you are, they may push back against it because what's driving them in that case is certainty. So go back and watch my video where I talked about having a healthy mindset for lean software development and helping people overcome attachment. That'll start you down the road to some strategies you can use to help people support you when you want to make a change and introduce uncertainty. But it's very important that you have the personal compassion for other people to understand and appreciate the fact that they may not be comfortable with it at first. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you treat the other person like you're a laggard, you're slow, you don't want to use the latest technology, you're going to turn them off immediately. The third thing we can do to have healthy growth in our career is to really contribute more to other people's success and growth. Remember how I talked about growth, or the desire in our human needs for us to acquire new skills, is kind of in conflict with contribution or our ability to share with other people. Well, if you're at a point in your career where you really want to grow and you're feeling stuck, one of the best ways to get unstuck is not to keep focusing on yourself, but instead to start to broaden out and see where you can contribute things that other people need. This is going to benefit you a couple different ways. One is it's going to grow your network. You're going to have a larger pool of people to draw from when you hit a brick wall and you need help. The second thing is people are going to get to benefit from learning what you know and they don't. And lastly, you're going to learn some new things from them. So this is just a no-brainer. It really makes a lot of sense. If you want to grow your career, be careful not to focus so much on your skills and your personal development, because you're missing out on a huge opportunity to learn things potentially quicker and have a bigger impact and be rewarded quicker if you start to focus on other people's success and not just your own. And the last thing that we can do, closely related to the last point, to really grow in a healthy way in our career, is to learn new skills, not just from the internet, but from other people. There's a couple big benefits to this. One is it forces you or me or whoever's doing this to become a newbie again. If you remember when you were first a software developer or first a software professional or a product manager, and you first went to write code, or you first went to write user stories or do market research or whatever the activities are that you do to do your job, You were new at it, and it was normal when you were right out of college because people maybe expected that you didn't know everything yet. However, when you've been doing software development for 2, 5, 10 plus years, people start to expect that you're the expert. And when you don't act like the expert, you can start to feel like there's something wrong with you. Here's the problem. For you to grow and to get new skills, you need to be comfortable with putting your mindset there again and becoming a newbie again. Being okay with other people on your team, them being the expert on something you're trying to learn. So I really just want to encourage you and recommend to you that if you're going to try to grow in a healthy way in your career, do it really by learning from other people, not just the internet, because it's not going to just speed the time at which you're able to learn new things. It's actually going to help you practice deferring decisions and knowledge to other people, which is kind of the attitude that you need if people are going to like working with you, because people like people who exhibit confidence, but they don't like people who are cocky. And if you work with other people and you practice deferring things to them and learning from them as you're acquiring a new skill, it's going to build and strengthen really strong relationships between you and the person you're learning from. Have you run into some of these paradoxes between human needs that you've maybe or others had to deal with in growing your software career? Let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I'll continue to talk about healthy software development, how people can work together and enjoy their jobs more, and how you can grow in your career. So until next time, thanks.